So I will call this meeting of the Open Space and Recreation Committee to order. We have a quorum present, and since some members are remote, we shall do a roll call to begin with. So Stephen Crowley.
Here.
Trevor Holden.
Here.
Anne Marie Foley.
Here.
David Robbins is here. Elizabeth Coveney is absent. Pat Hegel is absent. Shannon Phelan is absent. She notified us by email, which you probably all saw, that she won't be able to make the meeting tonight. So we do have a quorum and we can proceed with our agenda. The first agenda item I had was committee reorganization, which is something that we generally try to get done as soon as possible after July 1st. The question for us tonight is, since we're not all present, we could either go ahead and reorganize, basically just elect or re-elect chair, vice chair, and clerk, or we could put it off until more of us are together. And I'm in no hurry to get it changed, so yeah, I generally like to do the reorganization when everybody's here.
Yeah, that's what I'm inclined to wait. I don't know how you fellas feel at home.
I would agree with that, but when Shannon is here. As she
Yeah.
holds one of the positions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll pass over that.
All right, so we will defer that to our next meeting, which hopefully will be in August, third Wednesday of August, unless something comes up to make that impossible.
I will tell you, I won't be here for that meeting or that week, I'm sorry.
So knowing that in advance, we may prefer at least to defer our reorganization until September.
Sorry. That particular week, I'm just not gonna go to any meetings.
Yep. Depending on how busy one is, sometimes one needs a week off.
Mm,
So we'll plan on that, then we'll defer reorganization to our September meeting.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that.
I have no problem with that, even though it means it's guaranteed I'm chair for at least two more meetings, but that's not a burden. This committee, unlike some, doesn't consume a lot of my time.
Mm,
So moving on then, the next agenda item was the Trails Committee status.
Yep.
Select board created the Scale Trails Committee and
mhm. Yep, so they approved the charge recently, maybe a couple of meetings ago. And I did follow up with Evan a couple of weeks ago when we met, just kind of asking, so now what do we do? So he said he would get things rolling. And I didn't hear anything. So last night after our meeting, I just followed up again. And so Amber was there, so he directly asked Amber to go ahead and post it. So I didn't notice it on the website today, but hopefully we'll see it soon, that it will be posted for, looking for members.
excellent.
Yeah, so I think maybe everyone to keep your eye out this week, and if it doesn't end up there, I can follow up with them again.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll keep this has not been it's not been extremely urgent,
Right.
but we would like to get it going.
Yeah.
And we've basically done our part in
Yep.
getting the select board to put together a charge for it. Now to populate the committee
Yeah,
and get it.
yeah, so I'll keep my eyes open for it and I'll follow up with them if I don't see it posted. And I suppose basically maybe all of us, spread the word, right? But
Yeah.
I can make sure I can put it on once they post something about it, I'll try to push it out on some of my social media.
Yeah, I know I've been in a couple of conversations of people with. Yeah. One of the recent workshops that we held up at the one Grafton Common for either the
Yeah.
housing
master
production
plan.
plan or the master plan.
Mm,
There was some discussion about
Yep.
trails. And
Yep, I was there for that.
So, yes, it's a topic of interest to some people in town, and we're not all trails people, but
Yeah.
for those who are,
Yeah,
I think hopefully there will be enough interest for this committee to actually
yeah,
do something. Get
So,
organized.
I'll keep following up on that.
Great.
Okay,
Any other questions or comments on the Trails Committee?
Nope, looking forward to members signing up.
So the next agenda item I had was the open space inventory update. Where this comes from is when we created the updated the open space and rec plan, one of the components of that is an inventory of all the open space in town. And the 2007 open space and rec plan had an inventory which, upon review, it turns out to have been somewhat incomplete and somewhat out of date, not surprising, but also
Hmm.
incomplete. So when I was helping to finish up the last details of the open space and rec plan, which now has been out for 2 years or so, I spent a fair amount of time researching all the, and trying to identify all of the town-owned land
Great.
and all the other land that, that ought to belong there. So we now have, we had in the plan a pretty complete and up-to-date inventory of open space and recreation land. Since then, I've been periodically updating that, for instance, to add the Robinson parcels that we recently,
Mhm.
and then to account for other changes. So what I distributed for review here was, there's 2 documents there. One is the open space inventory, the first page of which is a summary of the numbers and how much open space we have
That's
in
great.
various different categories. And then the table listing essentially all of the open space. It's an update of the list that appeared in the open space and rec plan document, with the exception of the chapter land. That changes every year, sort of independent of anything we do,
Mhm.
but it's included in the open space and rec plan inventory. But for our purposes, I didn't include that.
That's great.
It's sort of, interesting for review, and of course, if anybody notices anything missing or incorrect about that, please let me know. So I do want to try to keep that up to date so that the next update to the open space and rec plan, we don't have to do a lot of work. We can just
It's right here. Yeah.
throw the latest inventory in there. Question for the committee here is, I thought it might be desirable for the committee to post that on our webpage.
Yeah.
I thought I was just gonna go ahead and ask William to put it up there. I thought, well, let's see what the committee thinks about
Yeah.
that.
No, I think it's great.
And you've assembled this list? The inventory? Dave?
Yes,
Is there? And this has been, you've vetted it to make sure that it's accurate.
yes. Among other things, I've dug through records at the Registry of Deeds. I've dug through town meeting minutes to identify, because for a lot of things, it's important to know, I wanted to make sure I could document the
Right.
status
Where
of
they came
everything
from.
on this list and
That's
not
great.
just take someone's word for it. So yeah, I've got documentation to back up, the town's ownership or whoever owns it, and the status, and whether it's under control of conservation, whether it's
Mhm.
dedicated to a particular use, which gets into the other document I circulated, the Article 97 inventory,
Mhm.
which is also, it's basically derived from the open space inventory, which was also part of the Article 97 status of every item on the inventory was included in the open space and rec plan. But I thought it was useful to have a separate document just itemizing all of the Article 97 land that the town owns or is in control of. And that again is something that we may want to put up on our webpage for
Mhm.
the benefit of the public. And
Mhm.
a couple of times over the last couple of years, questions have come up about land owned by the town, where knowing that it's Article 97 land is important. But I don't know what records the town has. I'd asked around when I was compiling this inventory initially for the plan. I'd asked around to see if anybody, any department in town had a list similar to this. And no one seemed to have it or be aware of it.
Dave, is this in Excel or is it, looks like it's PowerPoint?
The data that I use to drive this is in a PostgreSQL database.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So you can sort and parse and whatever you can with it.
Yes, I've been able to do a number of different things with it. At some point, it will have to be someone other than me maintaining it. And at that point, how the data is stored and maintained may need to change, because it's, you know, and I'm kind of a database person, but not everybody is. So we might end up wanting to keep it in the form of an Excel spreadsheet or some other
Right, yeah,
form.
it'd be, easier to work with.
Yeah, but for my purposes, it's easiest for me to work with it as stored in a database, and I can extract the data and analyze it many different ways.
I'm always curious about that Sunrise Ave parcel. I don't know if this is it, it's the Quincy River access, or if that's something different, where there was supposed to be a park, you know? But
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's the same location or not. I'd have to go see it.
Yeah, I think I remember, I think there are a couple of parcels off of Sunrise Ave, and I remember driving by to look at them, and basically you'd never know they were there. Because it's just like woods, or I think in one case is part of it looks like part of somebody's just using it as part of their lawn.
Probably, yeah. This is
So
awesome.
there are a number of parcels that, you know, I wasn't aware until I did
Yeah,
put this inventory together. I wasn't aware that the town owned the land or that it had a particular purpose.
right.
There are quite a few parcels that were set aside supposedly as a public park. They've never been used as a park.
How many of these parcels are landlocked?
Right.
Other properties that there's no road access, so those are
Yeah.
always challenging.
Yeah, so one of the things that we may wish to do as a committee in connection with, basically in connection with the next agenda item, which was these various land use action items that we ended up deciding we would be the responsible committee for. But part of this is, you know, on this open space inventory, if you look good, you'll find some parcels that, you know, maybe, you know, like I said, there were some that I never knew even the town owned, and,
Right.
you know, they're, when you look at them, you drive by them, you don't really see anything. So there's probably worthwhile, you know, reviewing some of those, you know, working with, you know, various other bodies like conservation.
Right. just to
Conservation and
confirm.
recreation,
Yeah,
where you know, maybe some of these ought to be put to some more better use,
sorry, excuse me.
or just generally, you know, is the town, the town owns these things. Is the town doing the right thing with them?
Any shit, like, this is awesome, by the way. Are they on a map somehow?
Yes,
Okay.
I can send around again, I made a map of this.
Yeah, okay, maybe.
I think I probably sent a
You might
copy of that map to the members of this committee
Yeah.
some months ago.
Okay,
There is on the town GIS, there is a layer you can view for open space. It is based on the state's open space data, which is not up to date with respect to what we have. One of the things on my list of things to do is to take the inventory that I've developed and try to update the state's open space database
okay,
from Mass GIS to make sure everything that we know is open space is included in the state site. And if we can get that done, and then the town GIS will have all that data.
right.
Meanwhile, yes, I think I circulated a map. That map probably was before we got the most recent two Robinson parcels. I'll circulate an updated version of that map.
Okay, thanks. I'm sure I saw it. I'm sorry. Just
But,
be handy to look at it that way too.
yes. Yes, and of course,
Brad.
if you look at the map on like a regular 8.5 by 11 size paper, it's hard to see the smaller, you know, what
Yeah.
we've got, you know,
Sure.
parcels of a half acre or less. It's hard to see them there. The electronic version, and you might be able to, you know, zoom in and see it better that way. But yes, I should have remembered to send that
No, that's
latest
okay.
map around with the other documents here. But anyway, I can do that, no problem. The other thing that shows up on that open space inventory are a few parcels of land, we've mentioned this before, that were intended to have been given over to the town, but never actually were.
Okay,
And that's something that I've been saying, we've been saying we want to take a look at those to see whether we think the town ought to try to acquire them and follow through on the original owner's intent.
right,
They're parts of subdivisions and they were supposed to be handed over to the town and they never were. It's all there in the inventory if you look through it.
that's great. So this was kind of what we were talking about. Well, let me go back to our agenda then. Where are we?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great. I mean, I think putting it on the website is a great idea.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody agreed.
Yeah. You guys are okay with that too at home?
We've talked through my questions about the accuracy of the data. It sounds like you've done your job, Dave, or it's not your job. You volunteered to do all the work.
Yes, when we were doing the update of the open space and rec plan, I'm sure I've mentioned it, said this before, the committee that was doing that at the time kind of fell apart. And we put together a document, sent that up to the state for review. The state sent back and said, you need to do this, this, and this, and this to finish it up. And at that point, there was basically Trish from CMRPC and myself that we were the ones left to do that work. And she wasn't even, CMRPC did the bulk of the work on this. But there were staff changes there. So by the time it got to this point, you sort of fell into Trish's lap and then into my lap as the vice chair of that old committee, but the chair had been long gone and never been replaced.
Last man standing.
So anyway, yeah, it fell into our lap, fell into my lap, and I started looking at the inventory in particular and saw so many things in the old inventory that I knew were missing or out of date. And when I started digging in, I thought, yeah, I think it'd be worthwhile to document every one of these parcels to make sure we're accurate on
Yeah, it's great.
who owns it, and what its purpose is, and all that. So
I did print it out, like I was saying to Dave, I don't know if you guys were here at work today, so I will look at it better at home.
yeah,
I apologize, this time I'm looking down at my phone, I'm trying to look at it, but I don't ingest stuff this way.
This is just the kind of data that is almost impossible to comprehend.
Yeah,
looking at it
especially
on a phone.
on a teeny one, yeah, yeah.
Phones are good for a lot
I
of
apologize
things,
that I'm looking down anyways.
But
Okay, good,
tables of lots of data
yeah,
are not a good fit with a screen on a phone.
yeah, I thought I brought it at home, so anyways,
And I don't know how some people seem to live using their phone for everything.
yeah, I know,
There's just a lot of stuff I do that I need either paper or a large screen.
yeah, I know, look at mine. All right, anything else? So this is awesome, right? I mean.
Yeah. So we'll,
Any questions or anything else from you guys at home?
No, not at all. This is
So
very good.
get this up there. Great.
Let me ask you a different question on this. Is there or can you provide a detailed narrative as to what the categories on page, well, it would be page 1, actually mean?
Like the summary, you mean?
The space inventory summary,
Yeah.
there's private owned, I understand that. But no protection. And there's permanent protection, limited protection. What's all that mean?
So probably
Yeah.
like conservation protection or
yeah, those,
wetlands or something.
those terms are, I believe they're defined. If you look at the open space and recreation plan document, you'll find definitions of those terms, but
Okay.
I'll take your point that on this summary page, it would be good to explain that.
Mhm.
Yes.
I know what it means,
Yeah,
and if you've read the plan and thoroughly enough, you'll understand what it means, but for the general public to read this, I have to agree, an explanation of those terms would be very helpful.
If you posting this online, people are gonna ask those questions.
Yeah, so what I will do is I will add that to this document.
Okay.
So I think it might even work well just as on this page, right below the table, to explain what those terms mean. Permanent protection, limited protection, and no protection.
Is the Williams Preserve, is that protected?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay,
Yes.
good point, Steve, thanks.
You know, virtually all of the land trust property is permanently protected by, simply because it is owned by the
Land trust, yeah, but I mean, that's not, it doesn't matter, I don't believe
And
it.
then there's a lot of other property, but you know, between, and there's some privately owned property that has a conservation restriction on it. And that's considered permanent protection as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, it would be well worth explaining what these terms mean.
Another reference point, I looked up what is a square mile as far as acres, and 640 square acres is a square mile.
Yes,
When you're looking through acreage and it's a quarter of an acre or 0.4 acres, what does that size mean? I know what it means, but because my yard is about a half acre, so I know my front yard and backyard combined is half acre. Many people won't know that when they're looking through, oh, that's 5 acres, that's huge. Well, it's really not.
Hmm.
In comparison to a football field, for example, everybody knows the size of a football field.
yeah. So
Just a point of reference would be helpful.
yeah. Yeah, do you think it might be worthwhile if we right after the column that says size in acres, would it be meaningful to say size in square feet? Not sure it would, but
I don't think it would be, because that concept would be,
That'd be kind of worse for me, I think.
yeah, I think it would be worse. Well,
I do what Steve does, it's like, we have an acre, so I know what an acre looks like.
Yeah.
And then I just multiply it, right? Yeah,
what's a common size that people know? A football field. Use something that's very common. It just has to be one line. A football field is equivalent of this many acres.
do you know the answer to that?
I don't know. I haven't been able to look it up yet.
Okay, I was just curious.
let's see, a football field is 100 yards by 50 yards, right?
Yep.
So that's 150 times 300. So a football field is 450,000 square feet.
No way.
No, 4,500 maybe.
Yeah, I was off by a factor.
That's okay.
I wasn't reading the numbers. A football field is 1.03
I was
acres.
gonna say, is it about 4,000
Yeah.
square feet is an acre, which,
So,
yeah.
so an acre is about one.
Okay, so we could put that on there. Maybe that would help people, to your point, Steve, to,
Yeah, I guess that would, so an acre is about football field.
it's about a football field.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sure
that
there's,
would be helpful. Put it in perspective for everybody.
Mm,
You can think
Yeah.
about if it's half an acre, it's half a football field.
yeah.
I watch it every weekend on Sunday in the fall.
and I suspect there might be somebody who is so uninterested in football that they've never even seen a football field.
Then most likely that person will know what an acre is though.
That's right.
They're gonna be that type of person.
You know, my first impression is to think, how can anybody not know what not relate to a football field? Doesn't everybody know what a football field is? But the moment I find myself thinking that, surely everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Somebody will come up and disprove me.
Yeah, but that's a good point. So,
Yeah, that's a
you
good
probably
point.
will know acres then, so we can put that in.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like that. Only in the
So
interest.
I just looked it up, Dave, where you're a bit off. The dimension of an entire surface of a football field, the entire surface, okay, is 57,600 square feet, or the equivalent of 1.32 acres.
Oh, that must be including the end zones. I
Right.
forgot about the end zones. It's 100 yards between the goal lines.
Yeah,
And the width of the field is 53.13 yards.
You're pretty close, you're off by 3.
Yeah.
Well, so we'll say that roughly,
And-
give or take,
And an acre is just about one whole football field.
just about, yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, this is helpful to, you know, get a sense of
Mm,
how to make the, how to make this more usable for the general public, more understandable. I like that.
And Dave asked, add in approximate.
Yes.
You know, there's no exact necessary.
If we get called out on it, we'll blame someone that's not here today.
It was just an estimate.
Okay, well, good.
Okay,
I've got a couple of updates to make this document more usable for the public. And we'll get it put up on the website. And the next item on the agenda was open space and recreation plan land use action items. Fiona has been in touch with Central Mass Regional Planning regarding particularly, she was looking at reviewing the action items in the open space and rec plan. Looking for action items that CMRPC might be able to help her. We get a certain number of hours of work from them every
Right.
year. So we're looking for things that they could help us with. And the one that caught her eye for that was the prioritization of acquisition of, you know, land for conservation recreation purposes.
okay,
So that's was on our list of things to do. So I think we will, chatted with the Fiona a bit about that last week, you know, moving forward with that. Well, we as a committee will work together with CMRPC and engaging other boards and committees as needed.
okay,
And we'd identified conservation and recreation, in particular, the land trust as being also involved with this. But as a way of moving forward in this, we've been sort of kicking this can down the road.
mhm,
The folks at CMRPC are not yet in a position to begin working on this. We're hoping that it will be within the next month or two.
okay,
So that just, you know, we made sure that Fiona was aware that on Grafton, on the town side of things, we're sort of the coordinating committee for this.
great,
So we should be expecting to work with
Part of
CMRPC on that.
good,
So there's really no action on it right now, other than for us to be aware that
we're gonna get help,
it's in the works.
that's even better.
Yeah.
Okay, great,
So one of the other items we had on our list was to review tax title properties for potential acquisition.
Mm,
I was just thinking about how do we move forward with that? I don't even know, I'm not sure what exactly. You know, here, I participated in writing this plan, but I can't say that I remember for sure exactly what we had in mind for that. We have acquired some properties by tax title. There may be some properties that we are in a position to potentially acquire by tax title. There's one that I think I remember running across when I was researching deeds and all that for the inventory, that we at one point had initiated some tax title action, but then dropped it. So we probably, the first step in that is to work with the assessor's office, find out,
okay,
you know, what they know about, you know, what tax
Right.
title. I know we have, like I said, I know we have acquired some properties by tax title and not done anything with.
right, so should somebody take that on just to contact the assessor's office? To, you know, at least
Yeah,
throw it out there,
yeah, so I think there's probably two things that tax title properties means. One is properties that we have acquired by tax title.
Right.
You know, we now own
that
them.
we're sitting on them, yeah,
We're sitting on them. We don't really have any plans for what we're gonna do with them, so a review of those would be in order. And then possibly more interesting is potential tax title properties that we are in a position potentially to acquire by tax title, although we may have tax liens on them already, but we throw tax liens on properties every year. And most of the time, I think the owner
right.
pays up and then we release the tax lien, done.
Do any of you guys want to take that on?
And that would be the assessor's office?
Yeah. Like as a start, I guess, a start point would just to be,
Yeah.
to reach out to the assessors, say this is what we're kind of interested in, and maybe if it's not that office, maybe they can lead us in the right way, in the right direction.
I'll take that on.
All right, thanks, Stephen. Okay,
So, all right, so that's a step forward. Yeah, that's probably it for now.
okay,
And mostly we'll be waiting on getting the joint effort with CMRPC going on the real, the primary focus of interest for us is, you know, identifying and prioritizing properties.
okay, great.
And that's certainly, it's gonna be a more involved process, but, yeah, if CMRPC can help us, you know, particularly if they've done something similar for other towns.
Yeah, no doubt.
Maybe we don't have to reinvent that wheel.
Yep, no, it's great. It's a great idea. It's good to have their help.
I'm always in favor of not reinventing wheels if I don't have to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay.
Okay, so are we, anything else on that topic for anybody? If not, the last topic on the agenda was to review the previous meeting minutes that Shannon provided for us,
Mhm.
three meetings worth.
I move that we accept the minutes provided for the three meetings as presented by Shannon. I don't have the dates in front of me.
I second.
Moved and seconded that the three sets of meeting minutes be approved as drafted. Any discussion? I didn't see any, when I read through them, I didn't see anything that I thought merited changes, so. With no discussion, then we can put this to a vote. Stephen?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
Anne Marie?
I,
And Dave votes aye. Motion carried unanimously.
great.
The minutes are approved. We'll let Shannon know, and I'll hand off this. I'll make sure Shannon gets this video, copy of the video, so she can do the minutes for this one.
Okay, thanks.
And with that, we've reached the end of our agenda, so a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded that this meeting be adjourned. Vote by roll call. Stephen,
I.
Trevor,
Aye.
Anne Marie,
Aye.
and Dave votes aye. Motion carried unanimously. We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming out on a summer evening when I'm sure most of us have other things we'd rather do.